Well, I need people to understand that I live in a basement. Internet is not great down here.
That's
So,
fair.
but one of these days maybe we'll live stream on Monday nights again.
One could argue that internet isn't good anywhere, because internet's a bad thing.
I guess, yeah, morally or ethically, it might not be a bad thing. Hold on, let me say. I'm very excited. I have a very special guest today. Somebody I've been wanting to get on the podcast for at least 7 days. Uh, we have the wonderful and talented Olivia Kram. Say hello to the people at home.
Yeah, that's me. I'm
Okay.
honored to be here. Huge Colin fan.
That's crazy. That makes one of you.
There are many of us. We meet on Tuesday nights and talk about our favorite Colin things.
I can't imagine those conversations are very long.
It's just mostly me and my boyfriend, who's also equally obsessed with you. Going on a date and spending most of the time talking about how great you are.
That's incredible. I just absolutely cannot believe that. And I won't believe it. But, what are the things I usually say in the beginning? Oh, yeah. So we're going to have a little chat, me and Olivia. You were asked to come on by my last guest, Nick Connors. And by the end of this, I hope you have an idea of who you might ask to come on the show next week. Keep in mind, my goal is that I'm trying to expand my guests outside of my direct circle of friends.
Sure.
So if you ask Jimmy, it kind of defeats that point.
I've learned to never ask Jimmy for anything.
Excellent. So have I. Last time I asked him to do something for me, he said Ben Schwartz would never do that. So...
This is a lie.
That's definitely a lie.
I'm sure Ben Schwartz would be happy to find you a date.
And he doesn't even need to do that much work. He just needs to make one tweet. It's really not that hard.
Ben Schwartz is known for tweeting out random people's requests for partnership.
He is a very approachable, friendly guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's known for that. You do see... Oh, you don't see because I didn't transition it. I'm going to have to fix that later. You might notice on the screen there we have a Discord link that is to the official Monday Night Tonight Discord channel where we do have a Q&A. You can ask all your Qs and maybe you'll get some A's. But otherwise, let's just get into it. Olivia, I have so many things I've been dying to ask you in the time that I've known you. And it's really hard for me to pick just one. Mostly because the past 3 episodes, this being the 3rd episode, I've mainly just talked to people I know that do comedy about comedy, and I feel like this is just becoming a show about comedy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm barely a comedian, so...
Well, but here's the thing, because I'm curious, where did you get your start in performing?
SNL. No, I've always been performing. I've always been a theater kid. I grew up being one of those obnoxious theater kids that, like, made out backstage and like, got weird, got, like, massage circles. And then I realized that I didn't like doing musical theater and all that kind of stuff. Because I am not multi-talented. I can't really sing, I can't really dance, but I can make people laugh.
Okay.
So that's around that time, that was like high school. I started doing improv comedy a little bit more seriously. I like grew up doing short form at like theater camp, but started actually taking classes in improv in high school. And then when I moved to Philadelphia, I met my writing partner, and she was doing stuff at the Philly Improv Theater, and so I started taking classes there. This was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, and I became a company member 3 years ago. I've been performing pretty consistently ever since then. And it's been just a steady decline in performance ability.
That's actually crazy because I feel like I had like a similar kind of trajectory, I guess, where I was also a theater kid in high school, Though
Yep.
I wasn't doing weird stuff like kissing people
All
backstage.
right. Well, so
But
then you weren't a theater kid because that's all they ever did was,
they
you know
did.
how you know how
They
quick
did.
mono passes in a drama club.
Very quickly. I
Yeah.
just was not ever asked to participate in any of that.
Oh, that's some
Uh,
bullshit.
though, did you ever make a transition into like any stage crew type stuff?
I did. I did costume crew because it
Okay.
was an it was an excuse to do quick changes with cute boys.
Nice.
There's a horny little 16-year-old. And yeah, that was fun. I think I got to like find film through that because I would like shoot videos.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Like I would shoot like little promos for the school plays, so I got to do some cool stuff when I got to do stage crew. But once I was like performing and taking classes in comedy, I like stopped doing traditional theater because I was like, this is
Hmm.
boring and I can't get that instant gratification of laughter.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that because like I did in college I did like the straight plays because I can't
Mm-hmm.
really sing, or at least I'm not confident enough to do it. And uh I always like hated the rehearsal process, mostly because the director sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was constantly like, can we just get to the part where like people are seeing this fresh and are like actually enjoying it, and it's not
Yeah.
just running the same scene where I'm trying to put a twist on it and I'm getting yelled at for making people crack on stage.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because I feel like straight plays are fun, but then you miss out on the fun part of improv, which is like discovering new things each
Hmm.
show.
Yeah.
Um, which is why once I started doing improv, it became very hard for me to do anything that was rehearsed because like you don't get that fun moment of like I found this funny bit, I'm gonna milk this and make it,
Hmm.
you know. You just don't get that in sketch comedy, which I also do, but I just don't enjoy it as much as improv because I'm crazy and love to
So
hear people laugh at how smart I am.
so do you find with sketch though that you prefer writing or actually just performing it?
In general, see, I have a BFA in writing, but in general, I prefer to perform, because like I don't know, I'm an Aries, I'm an ENFP, I'm like all sorts of whatever it is that makes you just so excited to be on stage and be in the light. So I like writing. It's definitely like what I'm good at, but I prefer to be doing the actual performing.
That's pretty I think that's pretty par for the course as far as like the way I feel about it. Because
Yeah.
I tried sketch once at Fit, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I did a little bit in college, but I don't know. I always thought the the jokes that I was writing were funnier in the moment, and then like when people are reading it out loud, I'm like, oh, I guess it wasn't all that funny.
But like the beauty of improv though is that like you've kind of got you're holding these audience members hostage. They've paid
Yes.
like $12 to come see you. So like in a way they've kind of got Stockholm syndrome and they're gonna laugh at what you're saying. So like the beauty of improv is you can say those really shitty bad jokes and like still get laughs. Whereas with sketch, people are, I don't know, they're waiting for the funny SNL bit.
Yeah.
They're waiting for someone to say sweaty balls. And so on and such forth. You know, that classic SNL sketch?
Yeah, that's that's a very astute observation. I definitely agree with that. There's like a weird kind of um anticipation to it.
What I'm trying to say is the standard for improv is lower because people aren't used to it.
Yeah. And like they're not expecting. You can like really blindside them,
Yeah.
really bend them over, and just
Yeah.
blindside the shit
I
out of them.
love torturing an audience.
Absolutely. That brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get. Hey, I'm sorry. It's 2020. We're gonna get a little political here, okay?
Ooh.
Olivia, you're a female. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
And you're a
Yes, and
female.
Colin, let me tell you
Yeah.
one thing. When talking to women, always lead with that.
Well, it's 2020. I don't want to assume anything. Okay, I'm
Yes,
trying to be.
I am a proud female.
So what? Okay, I don't have the experience of being a female comedian,
Yeah,
but I am interested in educating myself because I know I'm very ignorant to a lot of things, and I try my best not to offend people, but it
sure,
happens, and I'd like to
sure.
improve on that. So
Yeah,
I'm curious what your experience, especially in Philadelphia, is as a female
sure.
comedian.
So I feel like the Philadelphia comedy scene is really good about it. They definitely are more geared towards being inclusive of women amongst the scene. Different so than I think a lot of other cities. There's just some cities where it's like women get zero respect, whereas here,
Hmm.
like, you could be on a team with more women than men, and that's like a totally normal thing. But I think outside of the scene, I find a lot of like, if I tell someone I'm a comedian, I get a lot of like, oh, like Amy Schumer. Like that's the only woman they can think of, and my
Hmm.
comedy style is so vastly different from Amy Schumer. Um, or I get like, I was dating a guy like 3 years ago, and he was like this showboaty kind of guy. He wasn't in the comedy scene, but he thought he was funny.
Oh, great.
And um, he like, people would always be like, "Oh, you're a comedian, right? Like you do comedy." To him, and like would never say anything to me. And that always felt like, at that time I was doing 2 performances a week, 3 rehearsals a week, was working on independent projects, was doing a lot of stuff. So like it really sucked to hear that and hear like people just assuming this guy who was like not putting any effort into anything was the comedian and I was just his girlfriend.
Hmm.
And I think you get that a lot. You get a lot of like men putting in less effort than women, but naturally seeming funny because I think society views the comedian as a man and not necessarily as a woman, even though some of our funniest comedians nowadays are women.
Hmm.
So that's the hardest thing, but luckily within the community, I've never had. I mean, you get people hitting on you, which is weird,
Well,
but
yeah.
not necessarily like. I shouldn't say that's a I mean, I'm dating someone I met through the scene, so like that naturally came up. That's we hit on each other, but sometimes
Yeah.
you'll get people like who take away your safety in a space by like using it as an opportunity to flirt with you.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I haven't had like too awful of a time.
Well, that I think that's really interesting that you said that it seems like men don't need to put as much effort in because what I've seen from some other female comedians that I've like come to know now that
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're constantly like working on something or like doing
Yeah,
something. Like Siobhan, a mutual friend of ours for those at home, is like I think she performs like 3 or 4 times a week
right.
in like whatever capacity, and that is just so incredible to me because I'm like I can barely get off the couch 3 to 4 times a week. But I don't. I wonder if that's a feeling, not necessarily what her feeling is, but as a female comedian, if it's a feeling of I need to perform more or like
Yeah,
work more, or if it's just a natural, like these are just people with a natural desire to really go out there and just constantly be working.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think in like every capacity, um, in life with women, women have to work like 3 times harder and get like
Hmm.
half the payoff than I think men do. I think because America has always been like skewed towards the traditional idea of like the man goes and seeks success, the woman seeks building a home, and we're like totally out of that now because that's
Hmm.
not the way our like money works in our uh, country anymore. But I think we're still stuck in that kind of old 1960s way. So like it working in film, I've definitely noticed this, and it's the same thing in comedy, which is like I will never seem as perfect for a position or a role as a man who does less than I do, simply because like people don't view women as successful, I think, and we're getting away from that more and more. But I think it's ingrained in us that like, oh, this funny guy or this guy who like can lift a light on a set, like he's got it. This girl who's been on like 50 different sets and has worked with like huge people, like I don't know, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like I think women have to have kind of a harder edge in the entertainment industry, so they're often viewed as like bossy or mean.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like a man can like sit back and relax and just be his charismatic self and not worry about seeming bossy or mean.
Interesting.
But you're great. You're my favorite male feminist.
Listen, I don't need that. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't need the. Please, I swear. Oh shit, that had me thinking of something. I can't. Oh, okay. In terms of like, since you brought it up, like, how women are treated differently, like in the workforce, in terms of like being, thought of for like promotions or like wage things. I know a common, or like a well-known kind of argument that I've heard. I don't even think it's an argument, but like something I've heard people say is like, oh, women get paid less because they're more likely to have children, and then they have to go on maternity leave, and then and that has to get paid for. But something I've noticed, and I mean, I've only really worked in one corporate office, but in my office, the whether you're a man or a woman, you're offered paternity leave.
Yeah.
So like there was just a guy. There's actually a guy just got back, and another guy just two guys just left for paternity leave, for 3 months. So I don't know. Is that like a new thing that's happening now? Paternity leave?
So I know a lot of people I know who have had kids. Like the mom takes paternity leave right after she has a kid because she's recovering like her body.
Yeah.
And she's also taking care of the kid. But then right after the mom goes back for from maternity leave, the dad can go out on paternity leave and take care of the kid for 6 months. I think it's a really good system.
Oh yeah.
Because you've got a kid being taken care of for 6 months. I honestly think maternity and paternity leave should be a lot longer. But that's just my take on it. I think a kid needs a close bond with whoever their parent is in those early foundational years, because if they don't have it, they can develop different attachment issues. I know I had my mom growing up. She worked at home, so she was like there all the time, and I think that was really helpful in my life. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really great that we're viewing raising a child as a non-gendered thing now. And I think paternity leave is great. And the idea that like women get paid less because they're going on maternity leave is like such malarkey.
Yeah.
It's such horseshit, because like, so I just quit a job where I found out that I was being paid like $10,000 less than the guy who had my same exact position. Were hired like within 3 months of each other. And he was being paid like $10,000 more than me. And I actually reached out to the girl who had my position before me and said like, hey, like, I can't believe this is happening. And she's like, no, it's the same thing with me. I was being paid significantly less than someone who was like my same level, came in at the same time as me, and had the same level of expertise as I do. And the idea, like, I couldn't understand why it was happening. I just assumed like, oh, it's because I'm a woman. And then it was also because she was a woman. But the idea that like it's because we're gonna go off and have kids is like crazy. Like $10,000 with my salary would not have covered 3 months off. And also, like, I don't necessarily want to have a kid in the next 5 years, and I can only really see myself staying at a job for that long right now. So it was stupid.
Well, can I ask, did you like confront anybody at the office about it?
No, so I like quit that job for like a lot of reasons. It was oh my god, okay. It was just like a bad work environment, and everyone around me was really stressed out all the time, and it was just like such a nightmare, and the commute was an hour and a half long.
Jesus.
So when I found out that I was being paid that much less. I had already kind of decided that I was leaving, but that was the nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
So when I quit, um, they asked reasons, like, because I had only been there for 2 months, and that's like so unlike me. I usually
Mm-hmm.
stay at jobs much longer than that, but I was so unhappy in this work environment that when I quit, I needed reasons. And I didn't want to say to them outright, like, hey, it's because you guys are all assholes and this is a really toxic environment. So I brought up like a couple things, and one of the things I brought up was I think it's unfair that I'm being paid the same. So I was a producer, and I was being paid the same as a production assistant at the
Oh.
company. So like here I was, and here was like a person who was working a couple rings down on the ladder from me. I was making the same as them.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought that up, and they're like, well, we wish you would have talked to us about this. And I was like, what am I going to say? Like, hey, you're paying me what I think is a sexist salary. Change that. Like, I was only there for
Mm-hmm.
2 months. So I never really confronted anyone about it, but I told them that was one of the reasons why I was unhappy.
That's good at least. Because I
Yeah.
I had a similar thing happen. Because at my current job, I started as a contracted employee,
Right.
and the company that I was like employed through, they had contracted several other people at my office like before,
Mm-hmm.
and we had been talking one day. This was, mind you, like 5 months into me working there, and they
Mm-hmm.
were all talking about how they got paid $14.50 an hour, and I said, "Well, hold
Mm-hmm.
on." They told me the most they could pay was $14.
Ugh.
So then I went and like confronted the um like recruiting officer or whatever about it, and she got mad at me and said that you shouldn't be discussing pay at work. It's really inappropriate.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm
that's
I'm
another
just
thing.
I'm curious what excuses these people are using for underpaying people.
Like, that's another thing, is the idea that like workers shouldn't be talking about their wages
It's the
at
only way to
work.
protect yourself.
It's the only, like, I'm very pro union. I'm very, like, my mom was in
Mm-hmm.
a union growing up, my dad was in a union growing up. So I'm very pro like workers together, because it's like all you have in capitalism. And the idea that like we can't talk about what we're making is just a tool to like oppress, and it's just a
Yes.
tool to stop you from finding out that you're making less than the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's really fucked up. Like, my friend at the time at my job told me like, hey, I am making more than you. He assumed it, but he confirmed it. He's like, just please don't say anything, because like it's illegal to talk about like that at work. So somewhere along the line, he was told that it was illegal, and that he could get a job for talking about money at work. And I looked it up, because I thought that was such bullshit. I looked it
Yeah.
up, and it's not illegal. It's actually, you're within your rights.
Mm-hmm.
If you get fired for that, it's actually against the law to get fired for discussing your wages. I don't know the exact law. I think it's like the Labor Rights Act of something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, you're totally within your rights as an employee to talk about your wages with your coworkers.
Yeah.
And you should. Like, you should. If you think
Absolutely.
something's up, you should talk about it.
Hear that, people out there? If you think you're not getting paid
Yeah.
enough, go complain about it. It worked for me.
Yeah, if you don't like your job. Did you get a raise after
Yeah,
that?
they bumped me up. She's like, well, because after she told me you shouldn't be discussing it, but we'll send over the paperwork and you could like fill out a new contract that'll give you the extra 50 cents an hour. And
Yeah.
then after I like put it through, I got one paycheck where it was fixed, and then the next week I got hired on full time by the company.
Oh, nice.
So it was my kind of karmic justice where I made her do all this paperwork just for 1 week of
Yeah,
pay.
that's hilarious. No, I'm
So
like, yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Like, I'm glad you spoke up for yourself, because I
yeah.
think too many people don't speak up for themselves when they feel like they're getting underpaid. And yeah, it's gotten me in trouble sometimes, but I've always
Mm-hmm.
been fiercely like, employees deserve just as much rights if not more rights than the people that are running the company, because
Of course.
we're doing work for them, so their company is successful. They should make it more comfortable for the employees. And if that's like a living wage, then hell yeah, get the living wage. If that's more PTO, get them more PTO.
Mm-hmm.
So that's badass of you, Colin. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And I make sure we've had like more contractors from that same company come in, and I think I've talked to almost all of them. Been like, listen, make sure that you're getting paid what you're supposed to be getting paid, because they will try and fuck you over.
Wow, Colin, you're like Robin Hood.
Listen,
but
I'm
cooler.
I don't want to say I'm a hero, but if anybody else wants to, I won't stop you.
No, I'll say you're a hero. Colin, sure you're a hero.
Thank you. I do own a cape. It's a little long.
Go on.
It's a little long for me, but I do own a cape.
Okay, why do you own a cape?
A year ago now, maybe a year and a half, I bought a doctor, like a generic doctor costume, and then a red Dracula cape, and I was gonna go to a Halloween party as Doctor Strange.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the problem was I hadn't yet been invited to any Halloween parties. I was just anticipating an invite. I did not get invited to any.
No!
Yeah.
Well, you came to my Halloween party this year, and you were Chester Cheeto, and that was the best thing I've ever seen.
That honestly was probably the best costume I've ever made. And I have at least 3 costumes.
You should go to a party once and wear all of your costumes at the same time.
Oh, man. I probably could.
And if anyone asks what you are, just say, going through something.
Oh, that's pretty good. Gosh, I really don't want to out you here. So
you can out me.
We can cut this if it's wrong. No, I know you're a person with a lot of anxiety.
Yes, I am panicked at all times.
I am also a person with a lot of anxiety.
Nice.
And I had a really profound experience at Philadelphia Comic-Con this past year.
As you know what? So many people do.
So I think I got my tickets like the day before or something like that, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to like cosplay because I like to dress up.
Yeah. Well, you got that cape.
Yeah. And I should have done that. I should have done that costume, but I didn't. I went in this costume that I had made for a Dungeons and Dragons party a year before. Mm-hmm. That was like my own character in Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh my god, this will be fun. So I like put the costume on and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I feel cool. I'm wearing this foam armor that I made myself. I had these foam swords that I made. I was really proud of it. And then my friend Alex went as a homemade Spider-Man costume that he had, which is actually a very good costume. So we go to the Comic-Con and we're walking around and people are like coming up to us and they're all like, wow, cool costumes. But they're mostly saying it to my friend Alex because they look at him and they go, you are Spider-Man? I can tell that. And then they turn to me and they go, and you are? And the more I said, oh, I'm my Dungeons and Dragons character, the more embarrassed I got.
Oh, you should.
Which was weird. I'm usually not that like self-conscious about like how dorky I am. But like, and then it got to a point where a child came up to me, like a little like 2 or 3 year old kid, and his dad was right there, and he goes, Spider-Man, who are you? And I just looked at him, and I had green body paint on, so I said, I'm Shrek. And this kid goes, who's Shrek?
No.
Yeah. And then I think me and my friends all looked at his dad, very disappointed, and he's like, hey man, I'm sorry. I haven't taught him yet. He's not ready. He's not ready for Shrek.
Jeez.
But I don't know. It was a very strange experience for me to be like self-conscious like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's what like life is like for a woman. Not to go back to like being a woman, but like self-consciousness was like trained into me. I've always been pretty self-conscious until recently. Like as I grow older, it becomes less of a problem. But it used to be that I couldn't talk to people without blushing because I was so self-conscious. And it was just like from anxiety and from wanting to be accepted and worried that people might think I was weird or different. I really wanted to be well liked and considered cool growing up, which like again, massage circles and kissing backstage, I was never gonna be cool.
Nice.
But like I remember growing up and people like pointing out flaws in me, like, oh, you've got a crooked nose, your eyes point downwards, and I always thought of myself as like a very unattractive person, and like because of that was very self-conscious, which I know not to be the case now, but growing up it was always that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely fueled a lot of social anxiety growing up, looking different from like the girls around me because I didn't buy the clothing they were wearing, or I didn't wear the makeup they were wearing. I felt like no one's ever going to like me. I'm never going to be accepted. And then I found comedy and I was like, whoa, it's great to have a crooked nose and be goofy looking because people will just laugh at you automatically.
Well, that's good. Sorry, I'm really bad at that. It's been can can I say something very
Yes.
This might be controversial.
Ooh, yeah. Go.
I'm a big fan.
You voted for Donald Trump.
No, absolutely not. I'm a big fan of Stephen Colbert, and this is kind of a tangent.
Yeah.
And yeah. I always admire the way that he does interviews where he's allowing somebody of like a marginalized group to talk, because he always knows the right like thing to say after they make a point, because it's always very subtle and he's not like bringing it back to himself. And I aspire to be able to do that. I don't think I can.
Hey, you can do literally whatever you put your mind to, Colin.
Well, so back to your point though, I think that's kind of interesting that you say, like, as you get older, you're like, kind of feeling less confident or less self-conscious. Because with me, my body has always been like a big thing that I'm very self-conscious about. Because like kids growing up, and even because they're not going to listen to this, members of my own family have pointed out my weight and like how that looks on me. And it's made me feel very self-conscious. But the older I get, I'm like, maybe it's even just like the generational, society changing and accepting things. But I'm seeing people more and more like, no, dude, guys who are like really skinny or super jacked are like super gross. Like, you got a good body on you. And it's making me feel a little bit better. But I still have that like, you still always have that little like voice in the back of your head that's like, man, you got to lose some pounds, dude.
Yeah, I mean, especially when your family's saying it, right? Like I love my dad, but when I was growing up, he didn't mean to say it. I think he was probably projecting. But like if I would eat junk food, he'd say like, "Are you really going to eat that?" And in my mind, I was like, "Oh, it's because I'm fat. Like I can't eat food because I'm fat." And I wasn't. Like I've always been like teetering between underweight and normal weight. But like your family's comments mean everything. And also to the point of like skinny men not being attractive or jacked men not being attractive, someone out there is gonna find you attractive, and like you are going to be their exact type. It just takes finding that person. Like I'm not everyone's type, not everyone is my type, but there's a very specific, like I look at my boyfriend and I'm like, that you're all I want. Wow. And I can only hope he says the same thing, but doubtful.
I know you're only saying that because he's in the room.
No, he's fully asleep. Fully asleep.
Nice. Excellent.
Yes. So maybe he'll listen to this podcast and hear that.
Guarantee he won't.
Give me a big smooch, but
that's well, and gosh, just to bring it back to me again, because I'm so self-centered. Somebody I'm very proud of is my little sister. At least I think. Because she is the type of person who, gosh, I don't know if it's like influences from my mom or she's also, my sister's also very religious, mostly because my mom is very religious. And she's 16, by the way. Viewers of fans of the program know this, but she's very focused on like studying and like doing well in school. Yeah. And that's like, she's in high school. That's her only thing. So like I'll
Yeah.
ask her, "Hey, are you going to the school dance?" She's like, probably not. I got a big test coming up."
Yeah, no, 16 is like 13 and 16 are like the hardest fucking ages.
Yeah.
If I could go back, I wouldn't go to school dances because you just feel
Mhm.
weird and you feel sad and you feel like that boy you like or that girl you like doesn't like you back and it
Oh, for sure.
sucks and you think that this is going to be what it's like forever and it's just not.
Mhm.
Like I got bullied a lot and I
Oh
always thought
god.
that I got bullied a ton and I always thought that that was what life was going to be like forever. I always thought like
Mhm.
wherever I go, I'm always going to be an outcast and I'm always going to be made fun of. And like that's just not the case. And if people are making fun of me, they're usually doing it like they're usually my friends just giving me a playful ribbing.
Mhm.
is that did I use the right phrase there, or is
No,
ribbing like
yeah,
a sex
you,
thing?
no, you did. I don't think it is. I'm not the person to ask about that though.
Honestly, me neither, buddy.
Oh gosh. Uh, it's funny you say that. Fuck, damn it, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, because I remember now. So my freshman year of college, I lived on a floor with business majors. I was not a business major, but somehow
Sure.
I got put on that floor. So I wasn't really like connecting with these people because they were all like super big sports fans and they were like really into like drinking and partying, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I got Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Anybody want to watch me play? And
Watch you play.
yeah, and especially I had a really rough roommate freshman year who was
Mm-hmm.
not respectful or anything. So like I had a hard time making friends my first semester, and I
Yeah.
thought it was kind of strange to me because like in high school I was pretty it was pretty easy for me to make friends, and like grade school I
Yeah.
didn't have many but I had a few, so like that was the first time I had encountered like people who were not like kind to me all the time.
Right.
But then I hit this point where somebody like saw that how unhappy I was and was like, hey, there's a play coming up, why don't you go audition? I know you said that you did theater in high school. And I did, and then I made friends in theater, and I kind of like things started to go uphill from there. So it
Right.
kind of like taught me that as much as I don't want to believe it, there is a like you just have to go out and put yourself in situations where you'll be around people you think you might like or might like you.
Definitely. I had the same experience in college. Colin, we're so alike.
This is crazy.
Like I like had a bunch of friends in high school. Like I went to school with the same people for 13 years, and
Hmm.
so it was always really easy for me to make friends because they were the same people I knew from the age of like 7. And so when I got to college, I was like, how do you do this thing of like making friends? And it wasn't until I found comedy in Philly that I like actually made friends in Philly. Cause like when in doubt, just find the fucking theater nerds.
Hmm.
They'll talk to you about Les Mis and you'll cry about mutual trauma. Um, it'll be great.
That's definitely something I've noticed with the theater company, the Philadelphia Improv Company. Everybody there that I've met, I wanted to say for the most part, but I think everybody that I've met has been like really open and friendly and
Hmm.
like inclusive,
Yeah,
which is it's kind of a weird experience. I don't know why it shouldn't be, but I guess it's not what I expected.
I think because like it's all this like everyone I know has like a very similar background to me where like they didn't necessarily fit in at some point in their life and then they found comedy or they found theater,
Hmm.
they found performing or writing, and then suddenly something clicked and they started fitting in. And so like what I love so much about the community is that there never really was a time, even when I was starting out, that I felt like I don't belong here.
Hmm.
Because I think everyone's intention is to make everyone feel like they belong. And like you'll get catty people, but for the most part, those people kind of fade out,
Hmm.
and it's the people that stick around that are much more inclusive that they're just great.
Yeah.
I
I
love them.
I think the moment where I felt like the most included, that's a weird way to say it. I did we did an indie show at the Headlong Theater.
I think I
And
saw that show.
I think, yeah, you did, yeah. I was the first person to show up, like, before the rest of my
Hmm.
team, and there was, like, a bunch of people there that I didn't really know. And I knew the first name of the woman that was running the show, but I didn't really remember what she looked like. I'd seen her once before. So I just walk into the lobby and I'm just kind of like standing there. It was raining, so I'm like like shivering like a little lost dog.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then she walked up to me. God, I can't even remember her name now. But she walked up to me.
Emma.
She goes, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." Emma walked up to me. She goes, "Oh, hey, Colin, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, hey, Emma. Where's the bathroom?" And she goes, "Oh, it's right down that way." And I was like, "Oh, great. Somebody's nice to me here."
Yeah. No, I feel like I had a lot of those experiences too when I was just starting out, where I was like, wait, why are these people being so nice to me? And just because I think they're nice by nature, but also
Yeah.
because they've been in the same spot that you are in,
Hmm.
where you didn't know anyone, you were just starting out, you were just starting to take classes, or you were just starting to perform, and someone was nice to them, and someone made them feel included. And so, they pay it forward. Like I've met everyone I really love and care about through the theater, including my sick boyfriend. He's
You
curled
really?
up on a he's curled up on the couch with my cat Bijou. Quick
Oh,
plug:
very
her
cute.
Instagram is @brandywine_Bijou. Um, she just had a birthday party, and they're like cuddled up on the couch, and it's really cute.
I can I say something
Yeah.
that's really a hot button topic?
Mhm.
I just found out today. So my dad and his partner have
Mhm.
a Irish Terrier. It's very cute.
Oh.
I spent a lot of time with him when I was living at my dad's house, and I just found out today that they have a Instagram page for him.
Oh my God.
Here's the problem, and I really need you to not be upset about this.
Okay.
I hate when people make Instagram pages for their pets.
Go fuck yourself.
I'm sorry. It's just this is how I feel and I need to speak my truth. I don't get it. Just put it on your own Instagram.
My feed is curated to my life. My cat's feed is curated to her life.
But does your cat have input on the feed?
Oh, hell yeah.
In what way?
She does something cute. She's like asking for her picture to be taken. And then she says to me, like, oh, put this on Instagram. Can't believe you don't like pet accounts. That's
I
like
really
95% of what I follow on Instagram.
Hey, listen, you are free to do that. I'm not going to like try and tell anybody to change what they're doing. If that's what you got to do to get through the day, go ahead. What I have to do is really hate pet accounts.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely, please.
If you were any type of pet, what kind of pet would you be?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Um, am I guaranteed a good home?
No, you're never guaranteed anything in life.
Oh shit. Okay. Because I wanted to say dog. I like dogs and people like dogs, but
You
like,
have to give me the specific type of dog, though.
oh damn.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
making this easy for you.
I'm really into. Oh, okay. This is probably a good one. I feel like this is a safe answer. I really like pugs.
Ugh.
I can I explain why?
Yeah.
In my neighborhood where I grew up, so I grew up. My mom's mom lived. She still lives there, but she lived a block and a half down the street from us, and my
Mhm.
dad's mom lived seven houses up the street from us.
Mhm.
So very close. And next to my dad's mom, she had a neighbor. It was an old Italian couple, and the older man was this kind of like short Italian dude, like round
Mhm.
belly, like always smiling, having a
Yeah.
great time. His family owned a pizza shop, and they had a
Yeah, that sounds
pug.
about right. Was he a plumber?
No, they well, I don't think so. It was
Did he
not
have a?
Mario. It was not
Oh,
Mario.
okay.
He didn't have a mustache,
Well.
but he had a pug named Tiki, and he would walk this dog every single day down the street, no leash, because Tiki was very old, just like him. And it
Mhm.
was like they say people tend to look like their dogs.
Yeah, I
This
look exactly like my beautiful cat.
these you actually do have a little bit of a similarity to Bijou.
Thanks so much.
but these two looked exactly the same, and I said, I want to be that man. I want to be Mr. Orfanelli when I grow up. So,
um,
hey, shout out to the Orfanellis.
yeah, gotta try their pizza place.
They had they also have a nail salon in Ardmore. Or no, it's in Havertown. It's near
Wow.
Ardmore. So, if you're looking for it, it's across from the St. Jude shop.
Oh,
I also know the owners of the St. Jude shop.
wow, man
Yeah,
about town, Colin.
I do get in trouble for that. I've had people get mad at me because I'll walk by something, I'll be like, "Hey, I know a guy who lives there," or "I
It's
know
because you're
people
so
there."
fucking personable.
I try to be. I try so hard.
You're a hit.
Well, that's what the point of this show is. I'm trying to learn to communicate with people more
Yeah.
effectively,
Hmm.
and I think we've had a pretty good conversation here.
Yeah.
It's been pretty
Can I
good.
give you a piece of advice for communicating effectively?
Please, please.
Be authentically yourself,
Okay.
and then you will never feel like you are having to keep up with appearances.
That's
Do you know what I
okay.
mean?
I know what you mean, and I have a question for you because I've had
Yes.
this. I think the first time I had it was in like seventh or eighth grade, but
Uh-huh.
I've had several identity crises over the
Yeah.
years as a
Yeah.
person who likes to make people laugh.
Yes.
Because there was a point I think in seventh grade where I forgot what my own voice sounded like because I was so
Wow.
used to doing silly voices.
Yeah, little characters.
But like, do you ever feel there's a difference between like real Olivia and performing Olivia?
Oh, definitely. Definitely I feel like, and this is what I've tried this is what I mean, and this is what I'm trying to stray away from, is like leaving the performance on stage and being my authentic self with the people around me. And my
Mm-hmm.
authentic self doesn't have to be like straight laced and not funny, but I'm trying to stray away from like just doing bits to do bits, because I find that then I leave the conversation and I'm like, I don't know that person any more than I did before, because I showboated and I carried that conversation because I wanted the selfish payoff of them laughing.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to listen more. It's hard because when you're a comedian, you want to perform
Mm-hmm.
in all aspects, but I try to listen more. I try to ask questions more, and I try not to fake myself to please the person next to me that I'm talking to.
That's a really nice sentiment. Try not to
Yeah.
fake yourself. I like that.
Yeah, because I think so
That's
many
pretty good.
times we want to please a person, so we're like, yeah, I'll say I'm interested in this topic that I'm not really that interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just easier to just like find something that you're both interested in,
I think that's
or
something I've
listen
gotten pretty good at.
listen to the conversation that they want to have,
Mm-hmm.
because you can learn something.
That's fair. Because
So
I
that's my
usually,
advice on how to make friends.
yeah, usually like my big thing is once people start talking about pretty much any sport, I tune out immediately because it's like they'll start like name dropping people, and I'm like, I have no idea who that person is. I don't know if I can relate to this, but maybe I should at least listen and see if maybe there's something I can pick up on.
Oh my God, yeah. So I grew up, because I was a theater kid, I grew up in that very much like, well, I don't do sports ball kind of thing. And then I realized how fucking annoying that person is in
Mhm.
every conversation.
Yeah.
And then I stopped being like, oh, sports is dumb, I'm a theater kid, and started listening and even started watching. And now I'm a huge football fan.
I
Um,
noticed that.
yeah, I'm a massive go Andy Reid. He's gonna win the Super Bowl.
Go
This comes out on
Birds!
Monday.
This comes
This
out
comes out on
Monday.
Monday.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out, and I will be right.
Yeah. I had that same experience too though with the like I don't remember what the moment was, but I remember like making some joke about oh yeah sports ball, and then seeing the look of disgust on everybody in the conversation's
Yeah,
face and
yeah,
going oh god I should stop that.
yeah. Because that person is the worst person,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
not.
was that person.
If you're that person, if you're listening and you're that person, you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
You have a choice to make, and it's to not be an asshole.
yeah. When given the opportunity to not be an asshole, always take that opportunity.
Absolutely. You will be liked significantly more. I can say from experience. Well, geez, Olivia, I have to pee, so I think we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah, go take a fat piss.
It's gonna be not a fat piss. I
Go
don't.
take a go take a juicy leak.
Can I honestly? I've been really dying to tell somebody about this. There's a gentleman in my office, and I'll go into the restroom and pee at the urinal beside him because there's only two, so I don't have an option.
Mm-hmm.
And his stream is like a
Strong.
fucking. It sounds like a garden hose.
Yeah, that's a man I want to know.
Oh my god. And like I've been like doing a lot of research over the years, like trying to listen to the streams of people next to me, trying to figure out
Sure.
if genital size has anything to do with the power of your stream. And I don't have any conclusive evidence yet.
I think Kegels has something to do with it.
Oh, for sure. It would have
Yeah.
to, right?
I don't think being well endowed contributes to your stream ability. I think it has to do with how juicy of a piss you need to take.
I
Jimmy has
guess,
since
yeah.
woken up and now is looking at me very confused.
About
But you know what?
juicy
He's got a great
pisses.
stream.
Does he have a I don't know. I can't think of the last time I peed next to Jimmy. It's been a minute. For sure.
Well, you know
Well,
what? Go pee with my boyfriend.
I'm gonna pee by myself in my apartment.
All
Hey,
right.
you know what? You guys should come by. I've been dying to have you guys by.
We would love that.
You can come meet my rabbit.
That sounds great.
We'll have a game night.
Yeah.
It'll be really cute.
Yeah. That sounds lovely.
And to everyone listening at home, don't come by my apartment. I would never want you here. Never assume that I would.
Hey, everyone listening at home, go to Colin's apartment and get his autograph, because that's what he wants.
I do have two fountain pens I'd love to sign your pictures with. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I guess I don't really have an ending. It usually just stops. What's a good
Much
thing?
like when you're taking a piss.
Much
You don't
like
know when
you're
it's going to
taking
end,
this.
but then it stops.
Hey, have a powerful stream, everybody.
Yeah.